The first thing I register is the floral pattern of the wallpaper, pale pink roses climbing a white trellis. It's the wallpaper of my childhood bedroom, a room I haven't truly slept in for years. A room that became a kind of museum to a life that imploded. Then the weight settles in my chest, heavy and familiar, a phantom limb of betrayal that aches even before I understand why. It's a pressure I haven't felt since before. A laugh drifts up from downstairs. Jake's laugh, boisterous, charming, the kind that used to make my stomach flip in a good way. Now it's a shard of ice sliding down my spine. Because I remember. Oh God, I remember everything. I sit up, the cheap cotton sheets, ones I haven't owned since I was 14, crinkling beneath me. My heart hammers a frantic rhythm against my ribs. 3 months, that's how long I have. 3 months until my 17th birthday. 3 months until my heart gives out under the strain of what they do to me. What he does to me. What she helps him do. The memories flood in, not disjointed like a dream, but sharp, precise. A high-definition replay of my own destruction. It wasn't just one thing, one moment. It was a campaign, systematic and cruel. Jake, my Jake, the boy I'd loved since sandbox days. And Emma, my best friend, the girl who knew all my secrets. They were a team. It started with my algorithm, my revolutionary idea for a social media platform, one that connected people based on shared emotional responses to content, not just superficial likes. I'd poured my soul into it, coded for months, dreamed of changing how people connected online. I'd shared it with Jake, of course, and Emma, my biggest cheerleaders, or so I thought. The flashback isn't hazy, it's stark, brutal. I see myself, buzzing with excitement, walking into my father's office. Dad, a tech mogul himself, always encouraged my ambition. He'd connected me with Hartwell Ventures, his closest business partners, people who'd known me since I was a baby. I was ready to pitch, to show them what I'd built. But the meeting was cold. Confused glances. Whispers I couldn't quite catch. Mr. Hartwell, usually so avuncular, looked at me with something like pity. Later, Dad told me Hartwell Ventures had already heard a similar pitch, a stronger pitch, they'd said, from a charismatic young man named Jake Miller, backed by his brilliant partner, Emma Hayes. They'd already secured $2.3 million in seed funding, using my family's own venture capital connections. Connections I'd naively told Jake about. The algorithm they presented? Mine. Line for line, concept for concept. They'd stolen it. But it was worse than that. They hadn't just taken my work, they'd actively worked to discredit me. Rumors started circulating at school, then in the tight-knit tech community. Maya Williams? Oh, she's unstable. Brilliant, yes, but erratic. Prone to delusions. It was insidious, a slow poisoning of my reputation. My pitch meetings with other investors became excruciating. The polite smiles, the hesitant questions about my well-being. Jake and Emma had gotten there first, always. My grades plummeted. Friends drifted away, uncomfortable with the whispers. With my increasing desperation, I became a ghost in my own life. The stress was a constant companion, a vice around my chest. And then, 3 months from now, on my 17th birthday, my heart literally broke. A stress-induced cardiac arrest. Dead at 17, a footnote in a story they were already spinning into a triumph. But I'm not dead. I'm here, in this room. With those 3 months stretching before me, a terrifying, exhilarating second chance. The sound of Jake's voice again, closer this time, from the kitchen. He's charming, my parents. I can almost hear my mother's delighted laugh, my father's appreciative chuckle. The same sounds that lulled me into a false sense of security last time. I swing my legs out of bed. My reflection in the dresser mirror is a ghost from the past. Younger, yes, but the eyes. They're not the eyes of a naive 14-year-old anymore. They're haunted and hard. I pull on a robe and walk towards the door. Every step is heavy with the knowledge of what's to come and what I have to do. This isn't just about survival. This is about reckoning. I pause at the top of the stairs. There they are. Jake, leaning against the kitchen island, all easy confidence and winning smiles, gesturing enthusiastically as he talks to my father. He's outlining his app concept. My algorithm. Emma is perched on a stool beside him, nodding, her expression one of pure, innocent admiration. Her blonde hair catches the morning light, making her look angelic. Last time, I'd seen a supportive friend. Now I see the practiced curve of her lips, the slight, almost imperceptible narrowing of her eyes as she gauges my father's reaction. I see the micro-expressions I was too trusting to notice before. The subtle flick of Jake's gaze towards Emma when he thinks no one is watching, a shared, predatory gleam. Their performers and I, their unsuspecting audience, was their first victim. "Maya, darling, you're up," my mother says, turning from the stove, her smile warm and genuine. "Oh, Mom, if you only knew." "Morning," I manage, my voice steadier than I expect. Jake turns and his smile widens, a perfectly calibrated mix of affection and boyish charm. "Hey, Maya, slept well?" "Like the dead," I say, and I see a flicker in his eyes. Or maybe I imagine it. Emma slides off the stool. "Maya, we were just talking about the coolest idea Jake has for an app. It's going to be huge." Her voice is breathy with enthusiasm. "Fake. It's all fake." I force a smile. Really? Sounds exciting. Dinner is a surreal replay of a nightmare. Jake, with my father's rapt attention, lays out the roadmap for the app. My roadmap. He talks about user engagement, emotional connectivity, the potential for viral growth. My words, my research, flowing so easily from his lips. Emma chimes in with supportive comments, adding little details that make it sound like she was there for its conception. And in a way, she was. She was there when I excitedly told her about every breakthrough, then the crucial line. Jake says it casually, spearing a piece of chicken. "Actually, Mr. Williams, I've got a meeting with Hartwell Ventures tomorrow afternoon. Just preliminary, of course, but they sounded really interested when I gave them the overview." My fork clatters against my plate. This is it, the exact moment. Last time I'd beamed, so proud that my connections were helping him. I'd wished him luck, blind to the dagger he was about to plunge into my back. This time I meet his gaze, my expression carefully neutral. "Hartwell Ventures? Wow, Jake, that's impressive. Dad's always said they're incredibly discerning. What time is your meeting?" He looks momentarily surprised by my directness, by the lack of fawning admiration. 3:00. Why?" "No reason," I say, shrugging lightly. "Just curious. It's a big step. You must be nervous." I offer a small, encouraging smile. It feels like stretching taffy, thin and unnatural. Emma jumps in, her hand protectively on Jake's arm. "He'll be amazing. He's been working on this for ages." "I'm sure he has," I reply, my eyes holding Emma's. The slight emphasis on he is enough. I see a flicker of unease in her gaze before her mask of serene support snaps back into place. Later, alone in my room, the roses on the wallpaper seem to mock me. I stare at my reflection. The girl looking back is still recognizably me, but the innocence is gone, replaced by a cold, hard resolve. They think I'm the same naive, trusting Maya. They think they can play me again. A bitter smile touches my lips. This time, I won't just survive their betrayal. I won't just expose them. I'll orchestrate their complete and utter annihilation. And I'll do it using the very network they plan to exploit, the connections they think are theirs to command. It starts tomorrow, with that 3 p.m. meeting at Hartwell Ventures, a meeting they have no idea I'm already preparing for. The game isn't just beginning. I'm already several moves ahead. The school hallways feel like a stage set for a play I've already seen, whose tragic ending I'm determined to rewrite. Emma finds me at my locker, her face a perfect mask of best friend concern. "Maya, are you okay? You seemed a little quiet at dinner last night." I close my locker, leaning against it. "Just tired, Em. You know how it is." "Of course," she says, her voice dripping with sympathy. "Jake was telling me he's a bit nervous about his meeting today. With Hartwell, you should wish him luck. He really values your opinion, you know." She's already laying the groundwork, making sure I'm perceived as supportive, involved. It's the same script as last time. Internally, I'm already finishing her sentences. He really values your opinion, Maya, so when things go south for you, it'll look like you're just jealous. I offer her a small, convincing smile. Yeah, I know, I'll text him later. As she speaks, I see her fingers subtly tapping her phone in her blazer pocket. Texting Jake, no doubt. Coordinating their performance. She's buying it, keep her sweet. I almost laugh. At lunch, the cafeteria buzzes with the usual teenage drama. I spot Jake across the room, holding court at a table with some of the popular crowd. He's animated, confident. Emma is beside him, laughing at something he said, her head tilted just so. The perfect couple, the perfect liars. I make sure my own table, slightly less prominent, is angled so I can see them without appearing to watch. Then, as if on cue, Jake pulls out his phone, his expression shifting to something more serious. He gets up and walks towards the quieter end of the cafeteria, near the emergency exit. I knew he would. He always took important calls there, thinking it was private. Be right back, I tell my lunch companions, feigning a need to use the restroom. I slip out of the cafeteria through the opposite door and circle around, my sneakers silent on the linoleum. I position myself just out of sight, behind a bank of lockers. His voice is low but clear. Mr. Henderson, yes. Jake Miller confirming for 3 p.m. Absolutely, I'm looking forward to discussing the algorithm in detail. Yes, my breakthrough algorithm. It's going to revolutionize social networking. My breakthrough algorithm. The audacity still stings, even now. He hangs up, a smug smile on his face. As he walks back towards the cafeteria, I slip away. My turn. I find a deserted corridor and pull out my own phone. I dial Hartwell Ventures. Good morning, Hartwell Ventures. This is Carol speaking. Carol. Mr. Hartwell's executive assistant. 50-something, kind, overworked. Last time, I remembered her mentioning she always takes her lunch break at precisely 12:45 p.m. to walk to the little park 2 blocks away, rain or shine, to feed the pigeons. It's 12:40 p.m. now. Hi, Carol. It's Maya Williams, Richard Williams' daughter. Maya, how lovely to hear from you, dear. How are you? I'm well, thank you, Carol. Listen, I know you're about to head out, but I need to leave an urgent message for Mr. Hartwell. It's regarding a 3 p.m. meeting he has today with a young man named Jake Miller. Oh yes, Mr. Miller, he sounded very promising on the phone. That's just it, Carol, I say, injecting a note of carefully calibrated concern into my voice. There's been a serious misrepresentation regarding the intellectual property he's presenting. It's complicated, but it's imperative Mr. Hartwell is aware there are conflicting claims to the algorithm Mr. Miller is pitching as his own. Could you please make sure he gets that message before 3? It's of utmost importance to my father as well, and there's a pause. I can hear the gentle tapping of Carol's keyboard. Conflicting claims? Oh dear, that does sound serious. Of course, Maya, I'll put a note on his desk right now and flag it in his calendar. He always reviews his notes before a new pitch. Thank you, Carol. You're a lifesaver. Anything for Richard's family, dear. Now, I really must dash if I'm to catch my pigeons. I hang up, a small, cold smile playing on my lips. Seed planted. It won't stop the meeting. It might not even change the initial outcome. But it will create a flicker of doubt. A question mark. And that's all I need for now. Back in my room that afternoon, I power up my old laptop, the one I used to develop the original code. It takes a moment to boot, a relic from a past life. But it's there. My folders, my notes, my countless iterations of the algorithm, and the timestamps. Every file, every saved version meticulously dated, 6 months before Jake ever claimed to have a breakthrough. I connect an external hard drive, copying everything. Then I upload it all to a secure cloud server, encrypting the files. I create a series of anonymous email accounts, untraceable. My digital arsenal. I will document their every move, their every lie. And I'll do it while appearing utterly oblivious, utterly defeated. Computer class. Our AP computer science teacher, Miss Albright, is droning on about data structures. I'm seated a few rows behind Jake and Emma. They're huddled together, heads bent, whispering. I don't need to hear the words. I know what they're saying. I lived it. She's getting too intense about this whole app thing. Emma's voice, feigning concern. I know, and her dad is so invested. It's awkward. Jake, the reluctant hero. We need to manage her expectations. Maybe let a few people know she's been a bit fragile lately. Subtly, of course, we don't want to hurt her. Just protect the project. Their brilliant plan, they'd called it, to paint me as mentally unstable, jealous of their success, incapable of handling the pressure. It was brutally effective last time. This time, my phone is in my backpack, nestled in a side pocket, microphone angled perfectly towards them. Recording. Every venomous, carefully crafted whisper. My face is a mask of bored indifference as I pretend to take notes on Miss Albright's lecture. Inside, a cold satisfaction is starting to bloom. They are walking directly into my web. After school, my phone buzzes. A text from Dad. Just heard from Hartwell. Jake's presentation was apparently very impressive. Promising young man. I stare at the words. Last time, the text had been more effusive. Hartwell is blown away. Thinks Jake is the next Zuckerberg. So proud of you for connecting them. This time, the tone is lukewarm. Apparently very impressive. Promising. Not the gushing enthusiasm of before. My subtle sabotage, Carol's message. It didn't stop Jake, but it changed the temperature. It made Hartwell listen with a new filter. I text back, "That's great, Dad. So happy for him." I lean back on my bed, a slow smile spreading across my face. They think they're playing chess, with me as a pawn to be sacrificed. They have no idea I'm playing Go, and I'm surrounding them. The first real blow lands exactly as I remember, a sickening echo of the past, yet this time it's almost anticipated. It's a Tuesday morning, and the air in AP Computer Science crackles with a weird tension. Kids are whispering, casting furtive glances my way. I know what's coming before it even happens. Emma approaches me before class, her face a mask of anguished concern. Maya, oh my God, I am so sorry. Her voice is hushed, dramatic. Sorry for what, Em? I ask, feigning innocence, my stomach twisting not with dread, but with a dark, coiled anticipation. I don't know how it happened. I was trying to send Miss Albright an email about the upcoming project, and I must have attached the wrong file. Or maybe my email was hacked? I don't know, but some notes from your therapy sessions. They somehow got sent to the entire class list. She clasps her hands over her mouth, her eyes wide with perfectly feigned horror. My therapy notes. The ones where I'd talked about my struggles with anxiety, my passion for the algorithm, how it was my way of connecting, of feeling understood. The very notes Jake and Emma had twisted to paint me as unhinged. Last time, this was the moment my world started to publicly unravel. The humiliation, the whispers, the teachers looking at me with pity. This time, I just stare at Emma, letting the silence stretch. I watch the flicker of triumph in her eyes before it's quickly masked by another wave of remorse. Oh, Emma, I say, my voice trembling slightly. A performance for the onlookers. How could that happen? Jake materializes beside her, his arm protectively around her shoulders. It was an accident, Maya. Emma's devastated. We'll get to the bottom of it. Don't worry. He gives me a look of such profound, earnest support that it's almost comical. Yeah, I whisper, looking down, letting my hair fall to hide my face. An accident. For the rest of the day, I play the part of the shattered victim. I'm quiet, withdrawn. I let people see me looking distressed. I overhear the hushed conversations. Did you see those notes? She's really going through it. Poor Maya. Jake and Emma are being such good friends to her. Every sympathetic glance from Jake, every fake tear Emma dabs away when she thinks someone is watching, I catalog them all. Their cruelty, their calculated destruction, it's all fuel for the fire I'm building. They are digging their own graves with every theatrical display of concern. While they're busy performing their roles as saviors and concerned friends, my own countermove is already in motion. a silent, deadly current beneath the surface. Sarah Chen, the TechCrunch journalist. In my past life, I'd stumbled across an article she'd written about intellectual property theft in the startup world, but by then, it was too late for me. This time, she was one of my first contacts. Under an anonymous email, I'd reached out to her weeks ago, hinting at a story of ambition, betrayal, and stolen dreams among the privileged teens of Silicon Valley's elite. I'd drip-fed her information, my original time-stamped algorithm documentation, the encrypted audio recordings of Jake and Emma plotting my social demise, even scans of my father's initial enthusiastic emails about my project before Jake ever entered the picture. I'd shown her the pattern, the systematic campaign to discredit me. Chen, a bulldog of a reporter with a nose for hypocrisy, was hooked. She was building an expose, a deep dive into the cutthroat world of teenage tech entrepreneurs with Jake and Emma as her star subjects. She didn't know who I was, not yet. She only knew the evidence was damning and meticulously compiled. The first tremor from my counteroffensive comes that evening. I'm in my room, ostensibly doing homework, when I hear my father's voice tight and strained from his downstairs study. "What do you mean, discrepancies? Jake Miller seemed perfectly straightforward." I creep to the top of the stairs, my heart thumping, this time with genuine adrenaline, not just remembered trauma. Peeking through the banister, I see my father pacing, his phone pressed to his ear. Emma and Jake are sitting on the sofa opposite his desk, their faces pale. They'd clearly come over to check on me to further cement their narrative of my fragility. "A background check?" Dad is saying. "On a 17-year-old? Isn't that a bit aggressive, Hartwell?" A pause. He what? Misrepresented his development timeline? The core concept? You're saying there are questions about its origin? Jake is on his feet now, his voice rising in panic. "Mr. Williams, I can explain. It's a misunderstanding. There must be some kind of mistake. Maya can vouch for me. She knows how long I've been working on this." He shoots a desperate look at Emma, who just sits there, frozen, her practiced composure finally cracking. My father is looking at them, his expression unreadable. "Hartwell Ventures is putting the funding on hold, pending a full review." He hangs up the phone slowly, his gaze settling on Jake and Emma. "Perhaps you two had better start explaining, and it had better be good." I slip back into my room, a grim satisfaction settling over me. The ground beneath their feet is starting to crumble. They haven't connected it to me yet. They still see me as the victim, the one they need to manage. The next day at school, the atmosphere is thick with their barely concealed panic. They try to act normal, but their smiles are strained, their whispers urgent. They find me by my locker at the end of the day, their usual confident swagger gone. "Maya," Jake starts, his voice tight. "What did you say to your father? What did you tell Hartwell?" Emma is more direct, her voice sharp with accusation. "What have you done, Maya? You're trying to sabotage us, aren't you? Because you're jealous." I meet their panicked, accusatory glares with a serene calm that seems to unnerve them more than any outburst would. I remember this confrontation from my past life. Then, I'd been a weeping, incoherent mess, begging them to understand, to stop. This time, I am the eye of their storm. "Done?" I echo, a small, innocent smile playing on my lips. "I haven't done anything, Jake. Or Emma." I look from one to the other, letting my gaze linger. Except, perhaps, let the truth speak for itself. I watch their faces, the confusion, the dawning suspicion, the flicker of genuine fear. They search my eyes for any sign of the broken girl they'd tormented, the girl they thought they had so easily dismissed. She isn't there. "The truth," Emma scoffs, but there's a tremor in her voice. "What truth? That you couldn't handle the pressure, so you're trying to take us down with you?" "My truth is in the code, Emma," I say softly. "In the timestamps, in the original files. Things that can't be easily misinterpreted." Jake steps closer, his face inches from mine. That familiar scent of his cologne, the one that used to make me feel safe, now just smells of deceit. "You're playing a dangerous game, Maya." "Am I?" I ask, my voice still quiet, still calm. "Or are you finally realizing the game you started is about to have consequences you didn't anticipate?" I see it then, the shift in their eyes, the dawning, horrified realization that the pawn they'd written off might just be the queen. They don't understand how, not yet. But the certainty of their victory is gone, replaced by a chilling uncertainty. And that, for now, is a delicious first taste of retribution. They look at me, truly look at me, and for the first time they see not a victim, but a threat. And they have no idea how deep this goes. The desperation radiating from Jake and Emma is almost a physical force in the days that follow. They're cornered, and like trapped animals, they lash out, becoming sloppy. Their first move is to go directly to my father. I'm studying in the living room, textbook open, but my ears tuned to the hushed, urgent voices coming from Dad's home office. Mr. Williams, you have to understand, Jake is pleading, his voice strained. Maya, she hasn't been herself lately. She's been under a lot of stress. She's making things up, fabricating evidence. We think she's trying to punish us because she had feelings for me that I didn't reciprocate. Emma chimes in, her voice thick with feigned tears. We're so worried about her, Mr. Williams. This algorithm, it became an obsession. We only ever tried to help her, to support her vision. Now she's twisting everything. I almost smile. It's the exact narrative they pushed last time, the one that painted me as the scorned, unstable girl. But this time, I'm not an unknown variable in their equation. I'm the one who set the parameters. The office door opens and my father steps out, his face grim. Jake and Emma follow, looking hopefully expectant. He looks at me, then back at them. Actually, Dad says, his voice cool, I had a long talk with Dr. Evans, Maya's therapist, this morning. With Maya's permission, of course. He pauses, letting the words hang in the air. Dr. Evans provided me with copies of Maya's recent psychological evaluations. She's perfectly stable. In fact, Dr. Evans commended her resilience and clarity of thought under significant pressure. The color drains from Jake's face. Emma looks like she's been slapped. So, Dad continues, his gaze unwavering, your concerns about Maya's mental state, while touching, seem entirely unfounded, which makes your accusations against her appear rather malicious and calculated. They stammer, they backtrack, but the damage is done. My father, a man who values logic and evidence above all, now sees them not as concerned friends, but as liars. My preemptive strike a calm conversation with Dr. Evans, explaining the situation, asking for her support and validating my sanity if it was questioned, has paid off. Check. Emma, reeling from this defeat, makes her next fatal error. She tries to rally our mutual friends. I start hearing the whispers, the third-hand accounts of Emma's increasingly frantic stories. Maya's completely lost it. She's threatening Jake and me. She's obsessed with this app idea, convinced we stole it. She's even faking evidence. You guys know how dramatic she can be, right? She's always been a bit extra. The stories become wilder, more desperate. She's trying to poison the well, to isolate me completely. What Emma doesn't know is that I've been anticipating this. For weeks, whenever Emma has launched into one of her concerned friend monologues with me, or when she's been gossiping with others in what she thought was privacy, my phone has been discreetly recording. I have hours of audio of Emma, in her own voice, contradicting her current narrative, admitting her envy, outlining her plans with Jake. I select a few choice clips, the most damning, the most undeniably manipulative. Using one of my anonymous email accounts, I send them to a few key people in our social circle, the ones known for their inability to keep a secret. The subject line, the real Emma Hayes? No commentary needed, just Emma's own words, raw and unfiltered. The fallout is immediate and spectacular. Phones start buzzing, alliances shift. People who had been cautiously sympathetic to Emma are now looking at her with suspicion, even disgust. Emma, who prided herself on her social maneuvering, has been outplayed using her own tactics. Her reputation is shredding tweet by tweet, whispered comment by whispered comment. Checkmate, Emma. Jake, meanwhile, tries a different tack. His funding from Hartwell is indefinitely frozen. His reputation in our small, interconnected tech prep school is tanking. He starts reaching out to other investors, the ones whose names I'd naively shared with him in my past life, connections from my father's network. He's trying to bypass Hartwell to secure new funding, to salvage his sinking ship. His pitch is a variation of his earlier one. Maya is unstable, vindictive, trying to sabotage him out of romantic rejection. He's trying to leverage my family's name while simultaneously assassinating my character. It's almost pitiful, because I, too, have been busy. Weeks ago, I'd compiled a concise, professional dossier. My original algorithm, the timestamps, a brief, factual account of the intellectual property theft, and a polite but firm warning about Jake Miller's fraudulent claims. I'd sent it, again anonymously, to every single investor on that list. I hadn't asked for anything, I'd simply presented the facts. So when Jake calls, his pleas for meetings are met with polite but firm refusals. "We're aware of some conflicting information regarding your project, Mr. Miller. Our investment strategy doesn't align with this particular venture at this time. We've received some concerning reports regarding the IP. He's being blacklisted, systematically and efficiently. The network he thought he could exploit through my family is now a wall of closed doors. His ambition is choking on its own deceit." The true explosion, however, comes on a Thursday morning. My phone buzzes with a notification from Google Alerts. A new article matching my keywords. Jake Miller, Emma Hayes, algorithm. It's Sarah Chen's piece in TechCrunch. The headline is brutal, displayed prominently on their homepage. Silicon Valley starts young, how teen entrepreneurs steal, sabotage, and gaslight their way to success. My breath catches. It's more comprehensive, more damning than I could have ever hoped. Chen, with her journalistic rigor, has not only used my anonymous evidence, but has also dug deeper. She's found other students with similar stories, other instances of Jake's manipulative behavior, of Emma's quiet complicity. But my story, their theft of my algorithm, is the centerpiece. Their full names are there, their school, even subtly hinted at family connections. The article meticulously lays out the evidence of their fraud, the recordings of their plotting, the expert analysis confirming the originality of my time-stamped code versus the derivative nature of their pitch. It's a professional public execution. The article spreads like wildfire. It's trending on Twitter by lunchtime. It's being discussed in tech forums, in parent group chats, in the hushed corridors of our school. Jake and Emma are no longer just struggling startup hopefuls. They are poster children for teen tech villainy. I watch the chaos unfold from a carefully maintained distance. Jake and Emma don't come to school. Their social media accounts are either deleted or bombarded with scathing comments. Friends they thought were loyal are now publicly distancing themselves. Their parents, pillars of the community, are facing a barrage of uncomfortable questions. The whispers about Maya Williams being unstable have been replaced by a new narrative. Maya Williams, the brilliant young coder, the victim of a vicious betrayal. A cold satisfaction settles deep in my bones. It's a stark, almost sterile feeling. I've won. I've exposed them. I've reclaimed my narrative. I've done more than just survive. I've orchestrated their downfall with a precision that scares even me a little. But as I watch the digital flames engulf them, a new, unwelcome thought flickers. Is this it? Is this hollow ache in my chest the feeling of victory? Or is it just the silence after a storm, where all that's left is the wreckage? I've unraveled them piece by piece. But what about me? What am I supposed to build from these ashes? The revenge is potent, but the void their betrayal carved into me, that remains. The TechCrunch article is the talk of the town, but the real shockwave, the one that truly redefines the game, is still to come. And it's entirely of my own making. While Jake and Emma were busy self-destructing, while the world was focused on their downfall, I was executing a plan far bigger, far more ambitious than simple revenge. For the past 3 months, ever since I woke up in this second chance, I haven't just been plotting their demise. I've been building. In my past life, I dabbled in cryptocurrency, fascinated by the blockchain, by the volatility and potential. I'd made a few small, lucky trades, nothing significant. But this time, I had the ultimate cheat sheet, 3 months of future knowledge. Every spare moment, every dollar of my allowance, every bit of birthday money I could scrounge, I'd poured into carefully selected cryptocurrencies, timing the market surges and dips with uncanny precision. I knew which obscure coin was about to explode, which seemingly stable one was about to tank. I also remembered news reports of small, overlooked startups that had achieved sudden, massive success, their seed funding rounds multiplying exponentially. I'd made small, strategic investments, leveraging online platforms that allowed minors to invest with parental consent. Consent I'd easily obtained by framing it as an educational exercise in market dynamics. Dad had been impressed by my initiative. He had no idea the scale of what I was doing. It was a high-wire act done in secret, late at night, hunched over my laptop, my heart pounding with a different kind of adrenaline. The numbers grew. Slowly at first, then with breathtaking speed. I wasn't just making pocket money, I was building a fortune, enough to be a player. The day after the TechCrunch article drops, while Jake and Emma are still reeling from the public humiliation, I make my move. Not with another expose, not with another targeted attack, but with an announcement. It comes via a press release distributed through major financial news wires. Phoenix Investments launches 17-year-old prodigy Maya Williams Helm's new venture capital fund. The press release is sparse on personal drama, heavy on professional ambition. It details the launch of a new VC fund focused on innovative tech startups, particularly those founded by young entrepreneurs. It mentions a flagship project, a revolutionary new social media platform based on an algorithm that fosters deeper user connection through shared emotional experiences. My algorithm, my platform, and me, Maya Williams, as the founder and youngest CEO in the venture capital industry. The initial seed capital for Phoenix Investments? A cool $15 million self-funded. The tech world, already buzzing from the TechCrunch story, goes into overdrive. Who is Maya Williams? The girl from the article, the victim. How did she suddenly have access to this kind of capital? The narrative shifts instantaneously. I'm no longer just the wronged party in a teenage tech scandal. I'm a phenomenon, a prodigy, a force to be reckoned with. Forbes, Bloomberg, the Wall Street Journal, they all want an interview. The teen prodigy who turned betrayal into a multi-million-dollar empire. This, I realize, is the true recontextualization of my calm demeanor over the past few months. I wasn't just surviving. I wasn't just plotting revenge, though that was a satisfying byproduct. I was building. Every move, every carefully leaked piece of information, every strategic silence wasn't just about tearing them down. It was about clearing the path for my own ascent. While they were focused on destroying me, I was focused on surpassing them in every conceivable way. They wanted to steal my small dream. I was busy building an empire they couldn't even imagine. The launch event for Phoenix Investments is held at a chic art gallery downtown. It's packed. Tech titans, investors, journalists, even a few curious celebrities. My father is there, his face a mixture of shock, pride, and dawning understanding. He'd known about my algorithm, of course. He'd even helped me patent it discreetly in the last few weeks. But the scale of Phoenix Investments, the self-funded millions that he hadn't known, and then I see them, Jake and Emma, standing near the back looking shell-shocked. They weren't invited, of course, but news crews are everywhere, hungry for any angle on the story. Someone must have tipped them off. Their faces, broadcast on a nearby monitor showing the live feed, are a study in stunned disbelief. The girl they'd tried to crush, the one they'd dismissed as unstable and obsessed, is standing on a stage, confidently addressing a room full of the most powerful people in their world. She's everything they pretended to be, everything they aspired to be. Successful, respected, powerful, and they? They are the cautionary tale, the footnotes in her meteoric rise. My phone, clutched in my hand under the podium, vibrates. It's been buzzing nonstop. Texts and calls from investors. The same investors Jake had desperately tried to woo. The ones who had politely shut him down. Now they're clamoring for a piece of Phoenix Investments. They're congratulating me, praising my vision, my resilience. I look out at the crowd, at the flashing cameras, at the two stunned faces in the back. My transformation isn't just complete, it's an entirely new level of existence. I haven't just survived the tragedy of my past life, I've transcended it, I've rewritten it. And this is just the beginning The game they started is over. My game is just beginning. The launch party for Phoenix Investments is in full swing, a glittering affair that feels worlds away from the dark, suffocating days of my past life. I'm circulating, shaking hands, accepting congratulations, my mind already racing with the next steps for my company. Then, through the throng, I see him, Jake, making a beeline for me, his face a carefully constructed mask of remorseful sincerity. Emma hovers a few steps behind him, looking lost and pale. He reaches me, his eyes pleading. Maya, he begins, his voice low and earnest. Can we talk, just for a minute? I nod, gesturing towards a slightly quieter alcove. The noise of the party fades a little. Maya, I am so incredibly sorry, he says, his gaze fixed on mine. What happened between us? It was a misunderstanding, a terrible, terrible misunderstanding. I was young, stupid, ambitious. I got carried away. But I never meant for things to go this far. I always admired your brilliance, you know that. I listen, my expression unreadable. He's trying to rewrite history, to frame our shared past. His calculated betrayal as a youthful mistake, a simple misstep. He's hoping for a lifeline, a chance to attach his ruined reputation to my rising star. And this, he continues, gesturing vaguely at the glittering party, at my success, this is incredible. Phoenix Investments, it's genius. Maya, we were always a good team, remember? We could be again. I've learned so much. I could bring so much to your company. I let him finish, the silence stretching for a beat when he's done. Then I speak, my voice quiet but carrying an unmistakable chill. A misunderstanding, Jake? I echo. Is that what you call systematically stealing my algorithm, the one I poured my heart and soul into for over a year? His smile falters. Maya, Is it a misunderstanding? I press on, my voice still low, each word precise. To use my family's connections to secure $2.3 million in funding for my work, claiming it as your own? To then go to every other investor I was scheduled to meet and spread rumors that I was unstable, erratic, delusional, effectively sabotaging my chances before I even walked in the door? The color is draining from his face. He's realizing this isn't the conversation he'd hoped for. He's realizing I remember everything. Not just the broad strokes, but the painful, specific details. And what about the therapy notes, Jake? I continue, my eyes holding his. The ones Emma accidentally leaked to our entire AP computer science class, framing it as concern for my deteriorating mental state? Was that also a youthful misstep? Or was it a calculated move to discredit me, to make sure no one would believe me when I said you stole my work? He's speechless. Utterly, completely speechless. The charming, confident Jake is gone, replaced by a stammering, horrified shadow. He sees it in my eyes. Not forgiveness, not even anger anymore. Just a cold, hard accounting of his sins. He's not just facing the girl he betrayed, he's facing the ghost of the life he destroyed, a ghost who came back with receipts. You remember all of it, he whispers, his voice barely audible. Every word, every action, every lie, I confirm, from this life, and the last. The last three words hang in the air, unspoken, but understood in the sudden, terrified widening of his eyes. He doesn't understand how, but he sees that I'm playing a game whose rules he never even knew existed. So no, Jake, I conclude, my voice softening slightly, not with sympathy, but with finality. We won't be working together. There are no misunderstandings to clear up. There is only the truth of what you did, and the consequences you're now facing. I turn and walk away, leaving him standing there, a statue of dawning comprehension and utter ruin. Later, Emma finds me. She corners me near the catering tables, her eyes red-rimmed, her carefully applied makeup smudged. The picture of distraught remorse. Maya, she says, her voice choked with tears. Please, you have to believe me. It was Jake. He manipulated me. He twisted everything. I never wanted to hurt you. You're my best friend. You've always been my best friend. She reaches for my hand, but I step back, my expression unmoved. Your best friend, Emma? I ask, my voice devoid of emotion. Is that why you meticulously documented my anxieties and then used them to paint me as unstable? Is that why you actively participated in spreading rumors that destroyed my reputation? Jake made me, she insists, tears streaming down her face. I was scared of him. He can be so persuasive. I almost laugh. It's a pathetic, desperate performance. I reach into my clutch and pull out my phone. I'd come prepared for this. I tap the screen, and her own voice fills the small space between us. A recording from weeks ago, one of her many private conversations I'd captured. Honestly, Jake is good, but I'm the one who really knows how to play people. Maya trusts me. She'll never see it coming. We just need to make sure she's completely isolated before we launch. No loose ends. Emma freezes, her face paling to a sickly white. The sound of her own confident, cruel words hangs in the air, a brutal indictment. That doesn't sound like someone who was scared or manipulated, Emma, I say quietly. That sounds like an equal partner, an architect of the betrayal, not just a reluctant accomplice. I put my phone away. You were never my friend. You were a parasite cloaked in affection. There's nothing left to say. I walk away, leaving her amidst the wreckage of her own duplicity, her tears now undoubtedly real. A few days later, I'm a guest on a popular tech podcast, the host eager to discuss teen entrepreneurship and the phenomenon of Phoenix investments. Towards the end of the interview, she broaches the subject delicately. Maya, there have been rumors, some articles, about a rather public conflict with some former friends, also aspiring entrepreneurs. Can you comment on that? I smile, a calm, thoughtful expression. You know, I begin, choosing my words carefully. The tech world, especially at the startup level, is incredibly fast-paced and competitive. Ideas are currency, and like any valuable currency, they need to be protected. I pause, letting the words sink in. I believe passionately in fostering a culture of innovation, but also one of ethical conduct and mutual respect. Intellectual property is the bedrock of our industry. Protecting it and ensuring that credit goes where it's due isn't just good business, it's a moral imperative. I don't mention Jake or Emma by name, I don't need to. The message is clear, delivered with a professional grace that leaves no room for misinterpretation. It's a public warning, a subtle but definitive statement that their actions have consequences that extend far beyond personal feelings. It effectively shutters any lingering hope they might have had of salvaging their reputations. The final act of this drama plays out not in a public forum but in the quiet confines of my family's living room. Jake and Emma's parents, looking tired and defeated, have requested a meeting. My parents, ever gracious, agreed. Jake and Emma are there too, shadows of their former selves, avoiding eye contact. Their parents make a plea for understanding, for reconciliation, for some way to mitigate the social and professional fallout their families are now facing. They talk about youthful mistakes, about the pressures of ambition, about the need for forgiveness. When they're finished, my father looks at me. It's my decision. I take a slow breath. I look at Jake, then at Emma. Their faces are turned down, their shoulders slumped. There's no fight left in them. Mr. and Mrs. Miller, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, I begin, my voice calm and steady. I understand this is difficult for you, and I truly am sorry for the distress this situation has caused your families. I pause. But some betrayals, some actions, are too fundamental to be dismissed as youthful mistakes. I recount briefly but precisely the systematic nature of their children's actions. The theft, the lies, the deliberate campaign to destroy my credibility, my future. This wasn't a misunderstanding, I say. It was a calculated, sustained attack on my work, my reputation, and my mental well-being. Trust, once broken to that degree, cannot simply be patched up and forgotten. I look directly at Jake and Emma. I don't wish you ill, I say, and it's true. The burning anger has faded, replaced by a kind of weary finality. I hope you can learn from this and build different, better futures for yourselves. But those futures will not involve me. There is no reconciliation possible. There is no forgiveness to be had from me for what you did. The consequences you are facing are the direct result of your own choices. Silence hangs heavy in the room. Their parents look devastated, but they nod slowly, understanding. There are no more arguments to be made. A week later, the news ripples through our community. Major universities, the Ivy Leagues, the prestigious tech schools Jake and Emma had their sights on, have rescinded their acceptance offers. The ethical concerns raised by the TechCrunch article, the public nature of their fraudulent behavior, made them too great a liability. Their academic dreams, like their startup ambitions, are in ruins. That same week, I received full scholarship offers from MIT, Stanford, and Harvard. My work with Phoenix Investments, my patented algorithm, my resilience in the face of adversity, it's made me one of the most sought after young minds in the country. The reversal is complete. The sabotage they intended for me has become their own stark reality. My victory isn't just about success, it's about a fundamental, undeniable justice. The scales, so cruelly tipped in my past life, have finally found their balance. 6 months later, the California sun, a warm, golden haze, streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my new office in Silicon Valley. It's a stark contrast to the pale, watery light of my childhood bedroom where this whole impossible journey began. I watch the sunrise, a ritual I've come to cherish. It's a reminder, a new day, a new dawn. Phoenix Investments is thriving. In just half a year, we've funded 12 startups, all of them helmed by bright, ambitious young people with groundbreaking ideas. My original algorithm, the one that started it all, has been licensed to 3 major social media platforms, generating a revenue stream that still makes my head spin sometimes. And me? I was on the cover of Forbes last month. 30 under 30, the youngest person ever to be included. It's surreal. I turn from the window, my gaze falling on a stack of applications on my desk. More young entrepreneurs, more dreams seeking a chance. I'm not just a CEO anymore. I'm a gatekeeper, an enabler, a mentor. I've become the person I so desperately needed in my past life, the one who could have seen my potential, protected my ideas, championed my cause. The thought brings a quiet satisfaction, a warmth that revenge, in its starkness, never could. The burning anger towards Jake and Emma has long since faded, replaced by a kind of distant pity, and then, eventually, by a benign indifference. Their names still pop up in my Google alerts occasionally. They're working together at a small local marketing firm in our hometown. Their digital footprint is a wasteland of broken links and scathing comments from their brief, infamous foray into the tech world. They are footnotes now, insignificant blips in a past I've largely outgrown. They carry no emotional weight, no power over me. Their destruction was a necessary step, but it was never the destination. My life now is filled with different kinds of relationships. My romantic life involves a fellow young entrepreneur, a brilliant physicist who's developing clean energy solutions. He values my mind, my ambition, as much as anything else. We challenge each other, support each other. There's no room for the naive, all-consuming trust that made me so vulnerable before. There's respect, admiration, and a healthy dose of realism. My friends are a tight-knit group of fellow innovators, people who celebrate each other's successes, who collaborate rather than compete, who understand the pressures and the triumphs of this world we inhabit. There's no Emma in this new circle. There's no room for that kind of insidious poison. I've also established a foundation, the Phoenix Feather Initiative. Its sole purpose is to provide legal aid, mentorship, and seed funding for young inventors and entrepreneurs, specifically teenagers, whose intellectual property has been stolen or compromised. It's my way of turning my pain into purpose, my trauma into a shield for others. We've already helped 3 brilliant kids reclaim their work, secure patents, and launch their own ventures. That feeling, the fierce joy of empowering them, of righting a wrong before it can fester, that's a victory that tastes far sweeter than any revenge. My phone chimes softly. An email, I open it, a small smile playing on my lips. It's from a 17-year-old girl in Ohio. Her name is Sarah. She's developed an innovative new app for sustainable farming, but her business partner, an older, more experienced local businessman, has pushed her out, stolen her code, and is trying to launch it as his own. She's devastated, scared, doesn't know where to turn. She read about Phoenix Investments, about me, and she's asking for advice, for help. I lean back in my chair, the morning sun warming my face. I think of the girl I was, alone in her room, facing a future she thought was irrevocably broken. And I think of the woman I am now, sitting in this office, a sunrise at my back, an empire at my fingertips. My rebirth wasn't just about escaping a tragedy. It wasn't just about exacting revenge. It was about transformation, about forging strength from suffering, wisdom from betrayal. It was about using the impossible second chance I was given not just to save myself, but to build something lasting, something meaningful. I begin to type my response to Sarah from Ohio. Dear Sarah, thank you for reaching out. Your project sounds incredibly important. I know how devastating it feels when someone tries to steal your dream, but please know you are not alone. Let's talk about how Phoenix Investments can help. My legacy, I realize, will not be defined by the darkness of what Jake and Emma did to me. It will be defined by the light I choose to create in its place, by the opportunities I foster, the young minds I empower, the futures I help build. The fire of their betrayal didn't consume me, it forged me. And from those ashes, a phoenix has truly risen.